Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network of Michigan. Our program is devoted to entrepreneurship, and what we try to do is interview successful entrepreneurs who are willing to share with us their ideas and experiences, both the good ones and the bad ones. Because as it has been jokingly said, you should learn from the mistakes of others because you'll never live long enough to make them all yourself. My name is Engelbaum, and I'm the founder of the organization, and we've been meeting for over 30 years, and I'm really excited about having partnered now with an additional location, the Southfield Business Development Center. And I am really excited about having the president of the organization, or the actual building that's right in Southfield, and the First Lady, Carlos and Sheila Byrd. Welcome.
Thank you, Eddie.
Right.
We can fly all the way, right, with a name like Byrd. Was that by accident that you ended up with that name, or that's it?
I inherited the
You
marriage.
inherited.
Right.
All right. And Carlos, you're the regional manager for LegalShield as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you got umpteen hats, and you're not even wearing a hat today. What the heck went wrong?
That's how it is sometimes.
Well, it's been a delight to be there. Obviously, Southfield is pretty centrally located, and of all the things that Michigan needs today is the stimulation and motivation of entrepreneurship, and it goes all the way up to the other president that you may have heard about, Barack Obama. Have you ever heard of him? Okay. All right. Because of all the things, and I realize, because I love the whole sizzle of business and everything else, when you analyze it, if we could somehow motivate our politicians to really stick to what the intent was, they're supposed to protect us and really just make sure that we are able to have a quality life. This is the greatest country in the whole world. That's why we do these programs. And somehow we get involved with all this bickering and what have you.
Right.
And if the government begins to intervene with the business community and suddenly restrict the spirit of entrepreneurship, it's really like shooting yourself in the foot. In fact, shooting yourself in both feet. And I'm the ultimate believer that if you really want to become wealthy in America, it's doable today.
Absolutely.
If you don't have somebody above you. And I'm not knocking people that are in the corporate world and in businesses. There are a lot of very successful businesses, obviously. But the reason I'm really impressed with what you're trying to do at the Southfield Business Development Center is that you not only have the service of LegalShield, which we'll get into in a minute, but you help people in self-improvement. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yep. I think personal development is a big part of being in business. So that's one of the key focuses that we try to share with people is personal development. And then we have meetings there almost every day for training of different types of programs. Is that correct? Yes, we do. We do trainings during the week, pretty much every week. So facility is being used quite often.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you have an interesting background. You worked for one of the auto companies, and Carlos Byrd woke up one morning, hey, wait a minute, maybe I should think of another career path. So what happened? Can you share with us what happened?
That is very interesting. I didn't just wake up, thinking that, but my mom was a big part in, sharing some information with us. She was an entrepreneur herself, and she, got involved with the company, LegalShield, and she thought that me and Sheila would do very well, and she introduced us to it, and it was just amazing because it was something that you just wasn't aware of, and that's how most folks are. They're not aware of the service that we were providing, and we got involved, and it just made a difference. The service was the first thing we brought to us, but when she took us to one of the business, seminars, we was like, wow, I was impressed, with how they help different people. So we got involved, and ever since, it just, like I say, it made sense.
But it must have been sort of a tough decision to make. Here you're getting a check from a major auto company, and you got a beautiful wife,
Yes.
Sheila, there,
Yeah.
expecting to have money to go on vacation and
Right.
grocery. Along comes Mr. Carlos. You know something? let's do cut the floor out for money. How do you feel about that?
It was a tough decision. Anytime that, especially at one of the big threes, steady paycheck, things like that. But the hours was horrible because I was on an afternoon shift and she was on days. So when I come in, which would be 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes 6, she's on her way out.
Wow.
So my only time that we shared together was the weekend.
Yes,
and you know how fast they go by.
Yeah, I think that's why they call them weekends.
Right.
They go so fast.
They go
Now,
so
Sheila,
fast.
you're a nurse, right?
Yes, I am.
And that's certainly a very commendable career.
Yes.
But you're involved with LegalShield as well, is that right?
Absolutely. I absolutely supported my husband's decision to leave Ford Motor Company. Both of us working the hours that we did. I've been nursing for 24 years, and once we took a look at the service that we provide, LegalShield, it just made sense. Now you don't ever know how long you may be employed at a certain job that you might have, but this is a way to leverage yourself to be able to have a plan B in case of emergency, and that's what we were always looking for, is a plan B. And so that's what got us started with LegalShield, and then being involved with the company, it became the way. It's absolutely the opportunity of a lifetime, and it's absolutely changed our lives. So I've absolutely supported him, and it's been the best decision that we could have ever made.
Well, they say one of the biggest causes of divorce is the money part. So if you're able to have a cash flow and do what you like, it makes for a much better relationship. But I want to bring something out, and I want to compliment you about, Sheila, is that there are a lot of people out there that may want to find something else to do, and I always am a firm believer that you'll find a way if you really want to get anything done. You haven't abandoned being a nurse. You still work as a nurse, but you fill in with LegalShield. So it's not a choice that all of a sudden you give up everything. And this is what I try to bring out whenever I talk to people that are looking for a happy career. And happiness really is doing something that you like and that you can make money at and that you feel good about. I'm a pharmacist by profession, and one of the biggest motivating things that prompted me to go in the healthcare field was the joy that you get because of my knowledge in the prescription drugs. And someone asked me, hey, is this going to upset my stomach? Am I going to be able to sleep at night? And you help that person, and you're being paid as a professional. I think that draws you to the healthcare field. And also to career paths like LegalShield. What exactly, how would you describe LegalShield, Carlos?
Well, first of all, we know that everybody deserves legal protection. And, the company was developed to help people to have such service at an affordable rate. So the describing it is funny that, how can I say this? Different areas of legal services people use the most and maybe not being able to afford it, but with LegalShield, it gives them the ability to afford things that they ordinarily wouldn't even use an attorney for.
Right.
So that's, I mean, we have a passion for that after we learned ourselves the situation that we had, and we found out how much an attorney cost, you know, before LegalShield, but after LegalShield, it just made sense because it made it affordable for us to use that attorney for different situations.
Well, the way I look upon LegalShield, this they say is in show business a great segue. Sheila is a nurse.
Right.
Everyone knows in the healthcare field that you have to have health insurance, right?
Right.
Yes.
And you pay monthly for whatever company, and if you're fortunate enough to get to the big guys,
Right.
you pay more than you do for some mediocre type insurance.
Right.
But it's a monthly fee, and without that monthly fee, many people, if they run into a health problem,
Right.
to go in the hospital, they have to shell out $40,000,
That's right.
which, by the way, in a hospital adds up in
Quite
days
quickly.
and
Yes,
weeks,
yeah,
right?
it can be in a day. That's right.
So LegalShield has taken the legal profession and converted it to a monthly payment type program that for as low as $35 once you get started, you can have the benefits of it, and it, depending on how much you can afford. Another
Right.
big area is with the protection of ID theft.
Absolutely.
Did you hear that they just found out, I think, Fort Hospital lost, I don't know how many thousands of x-rays and what have you. This is
Yeah.
a major
That's
type hospital, how your actual identity is so vulnerable.
You know, it's amazing that you said that about the hospital losing that type of information. That part of identity theft is the most critical, that if someone gets that information and changes your records, and then that person happened to go in the hospital unconsciously, if it's a blood type that's different or, you know, something like that,
Right.
the hospital can give them the wrong type of, you know, blood or anything like that, and it can be deadly.
Right. Well, you got the records of somebody else
Right.
mixed up with yours, and it happens even in the financial world. But this
Absolutely.
can literally mean life and death.
Absolutely.
Right now, we have to take a brief break.
Okay.
We're going to be right back and continue with LegalShield and the Byrds, Carlos and Sheila. Wow. Don't go away.
Our small business has been downtown 100 years, and we're really proud of how well it's doing in these hard economic times. But healthcare premiums have been rising. We were glad when the Affordable Care Act passed. We became eligible for a tax credit. We used that tax credit to hire a new employee. In our experience, the Affordable Care Act is a job creator. If you would like to know more about the Affordable Care Act for your business, go to knowyourcare.org.
Enjoy farm fresh produce, kettle corn, baked goods, and more at the Lake Orion Farmers Market, held every Wednesday from 2 to 7 p.m. through September 11th. Each week, more than a dozen vendors offer locally grown goods, with more variety each week as new crops are harvested. The Farmers Market is located next to the Orion Arts Center and near Children's Park in downtown Lake Orion. Support the local economy and put fresh produce on your table. Visit the Lake Orion Farmers Market. For more information, go to downtownlakeorion.org.
And welcome back, and I'm here with Carlos and Sheila Byrd, who Carlos is the president, right, of Southfield Business Development Center, and Sheila, you're his co-partner in LegalShield. And we were talking before the break that LegalShield is a monthly premium, very similar to insurance, except in paying for health, you are paying for the opportunity to be in touch with attorneys, top-notch attorneys, anywhere in the country for as low as $35 a month. And the beautiful part about it, and the reason the organization has grown, is because a lot of attorneys, unfortunately for the layperson, have to pay something like $450 to $500 an hour, even $300 an hour is out of the budget if you just want to call an attorney about a legal matter. When you join up with LegalShield, you actually have the benefit that you can call an attorney, and depending on which state you're in, you can get advice from that attorney, legal advice that's not hokey-pokey stuff, that you can benefit in your life. And we were talking about the Southfield Business Development Center. And if you want to start a business, what are the 3 things they always tell you? Is number 1, you got to get a good accountant. Number 2, you got to get a good attorney. And number 3 is you need a bank or a financial source to get the thing or keep the thing going. So with LegalShield, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carlos, you can actually get assistance on how to start it in your business. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And just to have that type of advice from a qualified attorney is huge, you know, and it don't cost you anything.
And doesn't cost you more than the monthly fee.
Exactly.
Like we were talking about before, like in health insurance, if you got good coverage, it doesn't matter whether you're going in for heart surgery or foot surgery, but it's covered. Likewise, with LegalShield, you're protected, what, for traffic tickets? What are some of the other coverages?
Well, basically cover you from the trivial to the traumatic things that can occur in your life. So for instance, if you ever hesitated picking up the phone to call an attorney because you were concerned about the hourly costs, with our services, you get unlimited access to be able to call and speak to an attorney regardless of any matter that may be occurring in your life. Secondly, if you've ever need a letter or phone call written by an attorney to help facilitate something on your behalf to better the outcome, you have access to attorneys that will write letters and make phone calls on your behalf. Also, if you have a contract or document that needs reviewed, you can have an attorney to review those contract and documents. So have you ever been in a situation where you had a letter or a document in front of you, but you didn't quite understand the language? You can actually access our attorneys that will go through every line in detail for you to help you to understand it, and also help you prevent you from making a big mistake by signing on a dotted line and something that was not in your best interest. They're advocates for you at that point. And then there's also a will that you are obtaining from our services that is absolutely free for you and your spouse. You will have a full coverage will, and also durable power of attorney. Also is absolutely free to you and your spouse.
And this is all part of that monthly fee.
Absolutely.
I got a kick out of, I went to one of the presentations where this one person said they had a problem with their neighbor with a barking dog.
You would be covered.
And all of us have neighbors. And now, unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, I had a neighbor who complained to me because the other neighbor on the other side was raising chickens in the backyard. Okay, now apparently it's legal, so you can't do anything. But at that time it was not. So what do you do with the chickens? Okay. But if you're into LegalShield, you call up the attorney. They sent a letter on their letterhead.
That's right.
And as they say, that gets respect.
Yes, yes, it does. Absolutely.
Right. Now, how long have you been involved with LegalShield, Carlos?
I actually been involved just short of 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that tells you a lot. And how about LegalShield itself? The whole concept has been around for longer than that, obviously.
Absolutely. It's been around for about 40 years.
40.
40, yes, 40 years. And a lot of people still have not heard of LegalShield.
Right.
Amazing.
Well, hopefully with this program, there are going to be some other people, hey, maybe this would be for me. Well, the truth of it is that as I recall the history of the whole program, was that like a lot of things in life, there's a great saying that says, necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
The founder of the whole concept was in a terrible auto accident, and he was not responsible, and he lost, how much money was it?
Well, you know, and they say anytime that you're being sued, what do you have to do? You have to protect yourself or hire an attorney, and that's what he had to do. and he spent pretty much his life savings about between $4,000 and $5,000, which was at that time was a lot of money, like in 1969.
Right.
And of course, like you said, he won the lawsuit, but did he really win? Because he spent all his money on something that wasn't even his fault.
Right.
So.
And unfortunately, in the real world,
yeah.
if you've got something more serious
Right.
and it's a big company, they can wait you out
That's right.
if they figure you got to pay the legal
That's
fees.
right.
Because they're smart enough to know, hey, this guy
Right.
is not going to be able to last long.
That's right.
We'll do a few postponements, and right?
Yep,
That's our legal
that's how it
system
goes,
in
right.
action. Right? So the point is, here for like $35 a month or somewhere in that figure, you've got yourself that kind of a safety net.
Absolutely.
And of course, you got to be realistic. If it's really a complicated case, then many times the attorney firm that you are working with will give you a substantial discount over the regular fee.
Yep.
So you've got the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
If it's everyday type stuff, you know, I've had situations where even when you buy a car, you know, oh, don't worry about it, just sign here, right? What the heck did I just sign?
That's right. That's
Right?
right.
You can have it reviewed by your attorney through LegalShield at no charge.
Absolutely.
And especially now with the weather that we've had, you get some major appliance or furnace or air conditioner give out, and you got some hotshot furnace company that you really don't know that much about. Wants to charge you $8,000-$10,000. You better read.
That's right.
Yes.
You do. That's
And you do actually a fair amount of traveling. Have you had some situations where you've had to use LegalShield for your own benefit?
Well, actually, I have, you know, and being able to have access to an attorney in every state is huge, because getting a traffic ticket in another state, a lot of times they try to get you to pay that ticket right on the spot because you're, you know, they know you're not you know you're not coming back. But with our service, we can actually fax our ticket over to our law firm when we get home, and have an attorney in that particular state go to court on our behalf. That's the beauty of it, where I wouldn't even have to go back to that state to fight that ticket. The attorney would take care of that situation for us.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Now, Sheila, as a family, there are certain benefits with LegalShield as well. Can you address some of those?
Absolutely, because it does cover your entire family. And so if you have children, there has been situations where a child needed protection for school. We had one mother who her child was allergic to peanuts, and in her classroom she wanted them to be notified. So the children were bringing in their lunch, but some of them have peanut products. And you know, small children, a lot of times they will eat each other's food. Well, she was concerned about her son. The school did not want to comply with her request that they stop, you know, that they at least notify the parents not to. So she did call the attorney with LegalShield, who in turn contacted the school, and to this day, they no longer allow peanut products.
Right. Well, one of the nice perks about it, as far as the service is concerned, this is also there's a business opportunity that if you bring other people in that share with you, you can actually earn some additional income while you're still using the service. And what I was impressed with, LegalShield hires the top-notch attorneys in the field in their respective areas. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. In every state, they hire the top quality law firm in every state to represent us, because they want the best of the best. You know, and when you get, you know, in a service like this, you know, the clients, you want to make sure they're being represented by some of the best attorneys, because just for the perception, people think that something, you know, you might, what kind of attorneys are they?
Right.
You know, but these are quality attorneys. So we grade them as AV rated attorneys. So that means that they is top in their professions. So
yeah, well, you know, I always look at businesses very much like a wine, okay? and not that you should drink while you're in business, but a wine is worth a heck of a lot more in the fermentation process. The older the wine, usually the more you pay.
Right.
Likewise, if you associate with a service like LegalShield, number one question after you are satisfied with, how long has that company been around?
Right.
40 years. I mean, talk about legal system, they would have been sued if they were trying to pull a hoax out of people, right? So the thing is, the fact that it's been around that long, and you know, I really respect any business that not only provides a service, but you have an ongoing training program, and it's not like a one-night stand that, or you're given a bunch of books and say good luck. If you do get involved with the business part, you have almost weekly meetings and conference calls and webinars, so that you've got a whole team. And like you, Sheila, if you are getting a decent paycheck at a good job, find some additional hours that you can spend it. And in all due respect, unless you can devote, if you want to make a business out of it, a minimum of 10 hours a week, don't go into it. And that's one of the messages I try to bring out on this show. Many times people say entrepreneur, and they run out and get business cards and a letterhead. Hey, I'm going to go into business right away. And thing is, the truth of it is that you got to work. And if you work, in this case, you will make money. I'd like to leave you with my favorite thought, which is that in America, if you really want to get anything done, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. And there's no excuse for not achieving your dreams and goals in America, because it's the greatest country in the whole world. Remember, a goal is just a dream with a deadline.